We are delighted to welcome you to the premiere of How You Got Placed by Uthaan, aka HYP. Today we have with us the great Debaditya Pal Sir and Harsh Sharma Sir, who are the research specialists of our college. So, to start with, I would request our guests to briefly introduce themselves. So, sir, please.
Hi, I'm Debaditya. I'm a fourth year student in the BTech CS batch. I just like I'm busy with artificial intelligence and research. और अगर मैं वो नहीं कर रहा हूँ तो मैं definitely Dota खेल रहा हूँ. तो
Hi, I'm Harsh Sharma. I'm a fourth year student here as well. And I love working on machine learning for security and privacy. And while I'm not doing that, I love learning Spanish.
Great, sir. So, sir, we'll start with the questions. If you're ready. Cool. So, Deva sir and Harsh sir, both of you have secured a certificate for machine learning by Stanford University. So, would you just please spread some light on how you have made the decision to choose this course and what are your learnings from that?
Actually, when I was in first year, I decided that I wanted to learn about machine learning. So I was just like browsing all the different courses that were available online at that time. And in various forums, I saw people were like referring to this one particular course by Andrew Ng, which is the Stanford Coursera course.
Right.
And everyone was saying ki this is like the golden course for beginners because it explains the math and everything. So like from that only I started doing the Stanford course, and थोड़ी देर बाद I actually started liking it a lot because उसमें coding कम ही है, ज़्यादातर तो वो maths के बारे में ही बात करता है, and which is actually more important in machine learning.
Right.
And as for me, so I actually got to know about this course through Deva only. So he was the one who actually recommended the course to me, and I really loved it. Really enjoyed all the math in the course, and like he said, it's very language agnostic.
So, beginner friendly is it?
Yeah, it is beginner friendly in the sense that you don't need a lot of like prerequisite math knowledge to do it because the instructor explains the course really well. And yeah, apart from that, I would definitely recommend it to anyone who's trying to learn ML or deep learning.
Okay, sir. Cool. Both of you have authored a research paper titled Data Agnostic Roberta Based Natural Language to SQL Query Generation. So, would you, sir, spread some light on how you got to work on that and how was your experience?
Actually, I think जब हम लोग second year में थे ना,
Yep, second year.
हाँ, तो जब हम लोग second year में थे, we were like कि we wanted to try out research.
Right.
बट हम लोगों को कोई आइडिया नहीं था कि लाइक कैसे रिसर्च करना है एंड लाइक एनी ऑफ लाइक द फॉर्मेलिटीज़ ऑफ रिसर्च. तो इट वाज मी, हर्ष एंड हमारा एक दोस्त है कौस्तुभ. द थ्री ऑफ अस डिसाइडेड कि लेट्स जस्ट स्टार्ट बाय राइटिंग अ पेपर. तो सबसे पहले पेपर लिखने के टाइम पे द क्वेश्चन वाज कि किस पे पेपर लिखेंगे.
We had to find a problem to work on initially. And actually, Kaustubh was the one who found this paper. Like, he found the precursor paper on which we built this. So, like, we took that paper and we had no idea how to start. So, first of all, it was our first time doing any sort of research. So, we had to go through all the existing papers and, try to find out, first of all, try to make sense of them because we had a hard time reading most of those papers. And after that, trying to find out the loopholes or like where we could work on that. And that was our pretty much first introduction to research, I guess.
Sir, because in the college usually the research culture is not that prominent. We have a job-oriented stuff. So basically, I think that would be a great start, I think, for people to go about learning and reading research papers maybe.
Yeah, definitely. Like, to anybody who wants to like start research, like the easiest way is just कि existing किस चीज़ों पे पेपर लिखा गया है in like the recent past, like last 2 years. तुम उस टॉपिक पे पेपर्स पढ़ना शुरू कर दो, फिर हर पेपर में कुछ ना कुछ लाइक मतलब लूप होल्स मिल जाता है जो वो लोग मतलब इधर अजम्पशंस बोल के हटा देते हैं, नहीं तो मतलब वो एड्रेस ही नहीं करते. तो इफ़ यू कैन स्पॉट वन ऑफ दीज लूप होल्स देन उसी पे ही तुम अपना पेपर बना सकते हो.
Deva sir, you have completed GSoC 2021, Google Summer of Code. Sir, with Activeloop contributing to open source in Python Foundation. Sir, how did you get this, like how did you bag this opportunity? What was your preparation plans and all?
जब मेरा GSoC का स्टोरी इज़ थोड़ा वियर्ड टाइप का है, ठीक है. तो एक्चुअली ऐसा हुआ था कि मैं एक रैंडम डे बस ऐसे ही चिल कर रहा था एंड सडनली मेरे पास एक मेल आया. सो आई गॉट दिस मेल, उसमें इट वाज फ्रॉम अ गाय कॉल्ड मिकाएल हरुत्यूनियन.
Okay.
So I got scared. I thought like I don't even know who this guy is.
Spam.
Yeah, must have been a spam mail or like a promotion mail or something. I'm sorry, Mikhail, if you're watching this. But so he told me that he found my profile through LinkedIn, and he was working for a company, Activeloop. They were making this software for data streaming in machine learning applications. So he just wanted me to test out the software and give a feedback as to how the software was.
Okay.
So I got introduced to them. I gave them a pretty thorough feedback, and usi se I started working with them. So at this point, GSoC was like nowhere in the picture. So I spent like a solid 5-6 months working with them on various issues, and फिर suddenly me and a few other developers inside the organization, we were like कि GSoC is approaching. Why don't you guys take part in GSoC?
Right.
So usually in GSoC, people like advise you to like find organizations that are already participating in GSoC. What we did was we convinced our organization to take part in GSoC.
Okay.
And
Uno reverse.
yeah, a classic Uno reverse move. So then they took part into GSoC, and since like I was contributing to them for a pretty long time, they were very familiar with me. So they gave me the opportunity to like do GSoC under them.
Harsh sir, you have been accepted as a mentee under LFX by Linux Foundation. As a part of the program, you have worked on utility emission channel project under Hyperledger. Could you please share some insights on your mentorship experience and learnings?
Okay, yeah. So first, like how I got it was basically I had worked on this blockchain-based project for my BTP, the BTech minor project.
Right.
And I worked on like the project was such that I had to use a private blockchain, so I had to use one of the Hyperledger tools for that. And that's how I got introduced to the whole Hyperledger ecosystem. And once after I built my project, I started looking into Hyperledger open source because I knew that I knew about LFX through one of my seniors. And I knew that Hyperledger was one of the organizations who, you know, they do offer mentorships under the LFX program. So I found this project under the Climate Accountability and Actions Special Interest Group under Hyperledger. And the project was basically on climate emissions, on how to track climate emissions using blockchain. So I found that project very interesting. So I approached the maintainers. I gave them a few suggestions on how they could improve their project. I started raising issues, solving existing issues, and that's how I got familiarized with their code base. And eventually, I applied for LFX, and I got admitted. And as for learning, so I learned a lot about CI/CD and testing while I was doing the program. So it was a 6 months long internship. So it was a great experience to be associated with the community for that long.
Very few people know this, but इसने तो बहुत excitement में अपने minor project में Hyperledger ले लिया था, ठीक है. But जब जैसे ही मतलब time kept on passing by, this guy he started crying. He was like कि मैं क्यों Hyperledger कर रहा हूँ यार, मेरे को कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है.
I struggled a lot with that project. Like Hyperledger was very poorly documented at that time, and I mean there was no really good learning resource for it. So I had a very hard time trying to make sense of how do I make this project. But in the end, I mean, figure it out.
हो तो गया, हाँ.
हो तो गया sir. Deva sir, you have recently finished your summer internship in Southern California. Sir, could you tell us about your experience in foreign? How should we do so that we could also get some opportunity like that?
Okay. So first thing was this was a research internship, and after we published our first paper that we mentioned in this interview, I was like fully sure that I wanted to get a career done in research. So third year के summer में you are supposed to take like a good internship क्योंकि उस पे like credits भी रहता है college का.
And peer pressure भी रहता है.
And peer pressure तो definitely बहुत रहता है. So मैं ऐसे लिस्ट करके एक बहुत अच्छा GitHub repository है हीमा आहूजा का, उसमें that guy or girl has listed like all the different research internships available for Indian students, undergrad specifically. So I went through all of them. ठीक है. फिर आई रिमेंबर आई अप्लाइड टू लाइक 10 or 12 आउट ऑफ देम, जिसमें से मैं सब में रिजेक्ट हो गया. बट दिस वॉज वन ऑफ द मोस्ट प्रेस्टिजियस वंस एंड इस पे मैं एक्सेप्ट हो गया. ठीक है. तो आई वॉज वेरी शॉक. ठीक है, क्योंकि आई वॉज गेटिंग रिजेक्टेड फ्रॉम प्रोग्राम्स जिसमें आई थॉट कि फॉर श्योर इसमें तो हो ही जाएगा. एंड इसमें आई एक्चुअली हैड अ डाउट कि इसमें होगा कि नहीं होगा, एंड इसमें हो गया. तो एनीवे फिर द डे फॉर द इंटर्नशिप केम क्लोज बाय. आई टॉक टू माई मेंटर्स एंड उसने मेरे को पूरा प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट अच्छे से समझाया. एंड द एक्सपीरियंस वॉज वेरी गुड एक्चुअली. LA इज़ अ वेरी इट्स अ मेट्रोपॉलिटन सिटी. उधर पे लाइक बहुत डिफरेंट कंट्रीज़ के लोग एक साथ रहते हैं. सिंस इट्स क्लोज टू मैक्सिको, उसमें मैक्सिकन कल्चर का भी बहुत इन्फ्लुएंस रहता है. इनफैक्ट द फर्स्ट डे एट माई ऑफिस मेरा सुपरवाइज़र गेव मी अ टूर ऑफ द एंटायर ऑफिस एंड उसने फिर मेरे को टाकोस खिलाने लेके गया था. सो दैट वाज अ ब्रिलियंट एक्सपीरियंस. एंड या
Basically, just tell us about what actually was the work that you did there.
so in the internship I was assigned to this institute called Institute of Creative Technologies. It's under University of Southern California. तो उस पे different types of research होते हैं. So it's like an institute inside an university which also has multiple laboratories. So उसमें I was assigned to natural language dialogue group. तो उधर पे we were basically the overall goal of that institute was to create virtual humans. And I was like put into work based on the dialogue engine वाला part. तो उसमें क्या था कि there's a virtual human. People are like free to walk up to that person and like speak to them. So when somebody asks that virtual human a question, that human should be able to answer it. So my work was basically to make an AI that was capable of understanding that question and figuring out a proper reply to that.
Harsh sir, you interned at Mitacs Globalink Research Internship at University of Regina. Sir, tell us about your working experience there.
Right, okay. So first a little bit about Mitacs. So Mitacs is this program where they match you with they match students from all over the world with professors from Canadian universities, and they have a lot of projects where one student is matched with one project, and the students will be working on the project for the duration of the summer internship. So that's the structure of the program. And basically I had applied to this project which was on predictive analytics for health. And the description of the project was basically involving something called federated learning, which is like this new paradigm of machine learning wherein there's a lot of focus on data privacy. And since I had worked previously on my LFX project on blockchain, I was already into this niche of like security and privacy. So this project was really appealing to me. That's why I had applied to that. And basically my work there was involving how to create a federated learning system so as to find out the security flaws in that system and try to patch them, or try to find out what sort of security vulnerabilities are there and to create defenses against them. So that was my work during the 3 months that I was there.
Sir, how hard it is for someone who is trying to get into these interns?
Deba,
कंसिडरिंग ये मेरे को हर रोज़ फ़ोन पे बोलता था कि इसको छोड़ के इसके लैब में और कोई काम नहीं कर रहा है. आई वुड से इट्स वेरी हार्ड. तू ही बता. लेकिन
I mean, so Mitacs is very competitive in the sense that there are a lot of top universities there, like University of Toronto, University of British Columbia, etc. And I mean, because of these really big names, a lot of people tend to gravitate towards them and tend to apply for all of these. And the thing is, there are thousands of applicants, so the acceptance rate for these top universities is quite low. But comparatively, if you apply to a relatively smaller university, you have a better chance of getting in.
What do they really look for in a
So they're not looking for a research expert, or they're not looking for someone with a PhD. They're only looking for someone who has what should I say, who has an interest in research, or who would whom they think would have like basic skills. Like if I'm working on a machine learning project, I should just know like the in and out of machine learning. I should not I don't need to know like topic specific things.
So basically you're going there to learn.
Yeah, you're going there to learn, and your supervisor is there to help you work on your project.
For IUSST Viterbi program वाले में it's slightly different in the sense कि मेरे को they asked that if I knew in and out what I was doing, and they were basically looking for people who would continue working in research after this. So IUSST VTB program is, if you're sure कि you want to do research as a career, then it's a great opportunity. The good thing is they let you explain yourself a lot. 3 ऐसे लिखने पड़े थे मुझे, वो भी 1000 words की each, कि मैं क्यों कर रहा हूँ, मेरे को इससे क्या मिल रहा है, and like all of that stuff, motivation basically मेरा तो yeah.
And yeah, comparatively, Mitacs का application process is quite simple. Like all you need is 300 word essays, which are not even essays. They're just short answers, and apart from that, you just need your academic transcript and a letter of recommendation from one of your professors. That's all.
Okay. Deva sir, we would like to learn more about your pursuit in research and what drives you. What is your motivation behind doing research? Not chasing placements and jobs, but research.
But
Why?
research, yeah. Actually, quite interestingly, my interest in research started from competitive programming, which sounds extremely weird, but I like doing competitive programming to some extent. Uske baad, what happened was I left it for a pretty long time. I lost all my skills in that, and I didn't like the fact that I was given a very short amount of time to figure out the answer to a problem. So in a way, I was lazy, I guess. So what I wanted to solve a proper problem that nobody has solved before, but I also wanted to be given a lot of time for me to solve that problem.
Right.
So in दोनों चीज़ों का perfect intersection is research, where you have a problem and you have a lot of time. And उसको छोड़ के after I published my first paper, the feeling of publishing a paper, especially the feeling of publishing your first paper, is very good. मेरे को ऐसा लग रहा था कि this is some genuine work that I have done and it's published. Anybody on the world can access it and they can use it in their own work. So because of that feeling, I guess
आपका नाम
लगा होगा legit, हाँ. Citation में वो आ जाएगा कि मेरा paper देख के उसने बनाया है. So yeah, that's why I stayed in research.
Amazing. Harsh sir, as you all know, you're currently placed in GSoC. Sir, would you like to tell us about your interview process and how you prepared for it?
Okay.
In briefly.
Right. So the interview process was quite streamlined in the sense that there was only one OA, like the online assessment, and then after that I just had to give 2 interviews. So I was actually very surprised because I totally did not expect to make it through the OA, but somehow I did. And after that, I mean, once I got to the interview stage, I was pretty confident about the interviews at least, because so I as a part of my placement preparation, I haven't done any sort of DSA practice. Like I haven't done any lead code or anything like that. So if anybody's watching this among my juniors, please don't do that. Please do DSA. Please do DSA. So the thing about GSoC, what makes them different is that they don't focus on DSA, to hire their employees. What they focus more on is their understanding of core subjects. So they focus more on computer networks and operating systems. So that's what my interviews were more focused towards. They were asking me a lot of in-depth, they were kind of grilling me about my CN basics and my operating systems basics.
Wrapping it up with the final question, how important is academics and CGPA in your journey
So,
as researchers?
As researchers, it's a good question. So there is no criteria for CGPA if you want to publish a paper, but if you want a career in research, so you cannot just stop at a BTech degree. You have to go for higher education, like get an MS or maybe eventually a PhD. So the main problem जहाँ पे CGPA matters is getting into these good universities for a master's program. So specifically, since I want to go to US or Canada, udhar if you want a decent university, you need to have a CGPA of at least 9. So CGPA matters a lot, from this angle. But yeah, even for jobs also, I think CGPA does matter because gating criteria is रहते different companies के. What would you say?
I would say that anybody who's telling you that CGPA is not important is kind of misleading, because CGPA is important in the sense that yes, as he said, there are companies that come with gating criteria like 8 CGPA and above. But even beyond that, either directly or indirectly, CGPA does have an influence. It does give you an edge over your competitors when you have a higher CGPA. So it does help with placements. I wouldn't say that it does not.
Thank you, sir, for all these helpful insights and you're sharing your experience about the research. I hope all the people who are watching this can benefit from that and they could actually get inspired to do some research of their own. Sir, I would thank you again.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.